Thank you, Naomi, for accepting to interview with us. Thank you for creating your time. We are glad. Thank you, Naomi, for accepting to interview with us. We are a YouTube channel that focuses on consumer or education to the public on matters insurance. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Naomi Mutua. I am a digital communication specialist, and of course I am an insurance consumer.
It's good to meet you, and for today I just needed us to have a discussion. You recently tweeted about resolution. Policies were cancelled, you were not guided what to do. Maybe just tell us more of the situation, maybe the relationship we've had with resolution. Yeah.
All right, so as you mentioned, I tweeted something about my insurance policy being cancelled, and in this case it was in regards to my car. So I've been on resolution insurance policies in terms of a car since 2016, I believe, and for health even longer, possibly from around, with work from around 2012, and also in a personal capacity for health. So I've consumed more so their health policies, and then when they started the general insurance products, I put my car on there after I had a bad experience with another insurer. Resolution Insurance has been very good at what services they provide and very efficient in providing the necessary support when you have an incident, when you're sick. So they have been very caring to the customer, and that's one of the reasons I loved them. The response was always immediate. The help and the guidance given to you in case of an incident was very thorough, and they would always check up on you and follow up. If you had feedback regarding the experience, they still followed up on that. If you still had complaints, they would follow up and resolve. So it was a very good relationship. Yeah.
I'll be right if I said you are very sad to see what happened,
yes,
being put under receivership.
I was heartbroken, to put it mildly. After you hear all these stories about bad insurance, and yet your insurer treats you so well, it's difficult not to imagine them, especially as a company breaking down. So we started seeing the signs around last year, 2021, where now the information was out in the public that they're not taking up some claims. They're not necessarily responding very well to customers. People are experiencing difficulties. Some of the hospitals cancelled their agreements with them. So when you start seeing that, you wonder what's going on behind the scenes. It was very sad to see, especially a company where I knew the founder and I had known his journey in setting it up, seeing the success and being one of the few homegrown companies that was so successful. Seeing it crumble was really painful to watch. Yeah.
Can only imagine. I've actually personally worked for Resolution, and I enjoyed my time there. Now that it already happened, of course there's the regulator, and there's a way forward for such situations when they happen. What do you feel maybe should have been done better, or maybe the regulator should have addressed, or even now should address, so that at least you feel protected?
Okay, so what we saw were the general notices given to the public. So a press statement issued with a few items listed there, and cancellation of all policies. As they said, all policies were cancelled as of the 5th of April. Then it makes you wonder why or how they do this, because the letter that they sent was dated on the 5th. It was not sent to you as an individual. It was a letter that we saw on the internet. Everybody was sending it on Twitter, on WhatsApp. So you saw what everybody saw, but it was not particularly addressed to you as the customer. So in some cases, you don't read it thoroughly. In some cases, you really don't understand how it's going to affect you and affect everything that you've insured. And really even more painful for those who have health insurance. One of my family was really affected because she's expectant. And you can imagine finding an insurer who will take your case on, and you usually have to be insured pre-pregnancy. So now you're already midway through your pregnancy. How then do you address this? Your securities are no longer there. So then it means you have to start saving up. You don't know what eventualities will happen to both the mother and the baby. So it's a very scary time for consumers. So I felt that AKI first did not instruct the insurer to get in touch personally with all their clients. That is the expectation we have, because that's the relationship we had with the company. Someone always cared for you, but at this point, when things are starting to go down, no one seems to care for you. So that added personal touch is very important. And I can imagine there must be thousands and thousands of customers on that list. They have our email addresses, they have our phone numbers. There was not a single email directly communicating to you until, so for me, my communication did not come from the AKI, it did not come from the insurer. It came from the department, what do they call it, the DMVIC?
Yeah.
When they cancelled my car policy.
So you just got a notification.
So I literally woke up, was going through my emails that day, and as of habit I check my phone and emails and Twitter and things like that before I even get out of bed. So that's when I knew my policy had been cancelled. Yes, there was the notice that they've been cancelled, but this policy notice came to me a week later, and not from the insurance, not from the AKI, but the issuer of certificates. How impersonal is that? And you're waking up, you're getting ready to go to work, then you realize now my car cannot be on the road. So I have to find another means of transport, both back and forth, until you figure out who else to change your insurer to. So that impersonal touch is very, I find it very disappointing from all the parties involved. And as I say, yes, it could be a daunting task, but at the very least they have our email addresses. And being insurance clients, I'm sure that all our phone numbers work. The phone numbers and details, personal details we input, they are truthful details, because we always want them to get in touch with us. Even an SMS would have been important.
Just to prepare you, maybe psychologically,
and
financially.
Also, if you're going to issue a notice out, you've been through this journey with the insurance company. You've understood their struggles as the AKI. Why haven't you communicated to people not to take up new policies with the company? So what happens to those people who took out a policy a month before the company folded? That's an investment down the drain. And you can imagine for people who've insured for large parties, who've insured for families and things like that, it's a really huge investment. They should have put a cut-off time, given us a bit of a period to adjust and to find other new insurers, and then given us the process of how then to recover from this. If you have a medical insurance, you have pre-existing conditions, how can another insurer onboard you and not have you go through the prerequisite waiting time? How can they take into consideration that you've been a good client, you've never defaulted, and you deserve then the courtesy of being onboarded to another insurer? How do we identify what are the right companies to go to, or who would be suitable for you? So there's such lack of information and a lot of impersonal action from the AKI. Yeah.
You've mentioned something very important. It's a necessary requirement, actually a mandatory requirement for a client to produce KYC, that is, know your customer, the PIN, address, contacts, and they are necessary for insurance companies so that they can be able to communicate. And I'm glad that at least you used to have that with resolution over time. But sometimes it might not happen. some companies will not communicate. They have the data, but they will not communicate, especially when it's a disadvantage to you, which is a bit unfair. But I think going forward, we as customers and insurance consumers, we should be a bit keen on the financial stability of the insurance companies that we are going for, and try to ask a friend, try to get more information, look at the financials of the company, try to find out what could go wrong in the next maybe foreseeable, like 1 year on one period of insurance. Although maybe for your case you've had a very good relationship, so it would have been difficult for you to imagine that that would happen. And now that it happened, I think we get in touch with the IRA, the regulator, and PCF on guidance on what customers should be able to do going forward. If such a case happens, what do they stand to lose? What do you stand to lose? What options do you have? And you've suggested something like having an arrangement such that if there was an existing policy with a particular company, can it be bought by another company and continue to operate? I have not seen that happen, and I think it's a good idea that should be considered by the regulator. So guys, if this happens, you have a few options, and the first option most definitely is to contact your insurance person. You need to talk to your agent, you need to talk to your broker, you need to call maybe the insurance company. You even have an option of calling IRA. IRA is the regulator, or AKI, that is AKI. Ask them what options you have, challenge your agent to give you a way forward, and you can get something that is easy for you. Yeah, you can talk to your agent, your broker, or even the regulator. Get an option, get a new policy with a new insurance company, move on fast, and then you can be able to now follow up on whatever issues or whatever premiums that you had paid or whatever claims that are outstanding. You can be able to follow that up, but not exposing yourself while at it. So if you've been in such a situation, please leave us a comment. Let us know how you have been affected, and we can be able to give you a guidance on what to do. Today we are done, and we are thankful to Naomi for giving us an opportunity to interview with you and for sharing with us your experience. We hope that it gets better with time, and that you will feel secure when you have an insurance policy in place, whether it's health, whether it's property. We hope that every day it will get better.
Thank you very much,
yeah.
And thank you for the interview.
Karibu sana. Thank you for creating your time. We are glad.
Thank you.
Yeah, for this and more videos on insurance,
please subscribe to Bima TV and get to learn more. Thank you.